Good morning and welcome to Sports Central, brought to you live and exclusive on Spectrum Television, all the way from the hills of Ipiakurin. My name is Mfono Bonga Akpabio Itina. I'm excited to be saddled with the responsibility of opening the show this particular morning. Lots of exciting stories. International football just got to a crescendo over the weekend and earlier this week, and now we are having the footballers return to their various club sides ahead of the Barcelona, Real Madrid and all the top clubs in Spain already counting their teeth ahead of the matches scheduled for this weekend as the injury list keep piling and piling and piling. The likes of Frankie de Jong signing a new contract just on the back of that international break, and now he's extended his stay at the Catalonian club for another year. Well, we'll look at all of these stories and even the ones in the world of tennis. The Commonwealth Games, something happened for Nigeria, very shocking and maybe disappointing. We'll take a look at all of them. Before we start, we'll just take a look at what's trending in Sport Wrap-Up. Thank you for sticking around. We'll start from the world of tennis when the ATP scene Casper Ruud recovered quickly from a shaky start on Wednesday, which was yesterday, producing a polished serving display to secure victory on his return to the BNP Paribas Nordic Open in Stockholm. The second seed opened his campaign at the indoor hard-court ATP 250 with a 7-6, 6-4 win against the big-hitted Marin Cilic. After falling behind 1-4 in the opening set, Ruud found his rhythm with commanding serves and trademark movement to improve his season record in opening rounds to 14 wins and just 3 losses. Despite his early deficit, Ruud soon took control from the baseline, combining precise ground strokes with dominant serving to turn the match around. He held serve to love in 4 straight games in the first set and won all 12 first serve points in the second. Ruud won our 50-minute triumph, provided a boost to his bid to reach the ATP finals for the 4th time. The 2022 runner-up at the season finale is 11th in the ATP Live Race to Turin, and in the quarterfinals, he will face Sebastian Korda. Now to the WTA scene, where a year ago Zhu Lin watched the Asian swing from the sidelines, recovering from an elbow injury that kept her out for 6 months. Well, she returned at this year's Australian Open, but her comeback was a bit rocky as the form that once lifted her to number 31 in the world eluded her, and by the time she arrived in Montreal for the Canada Open in late July, her ranking had plummeted, nearly dropping her out of the top 500. But in Montreal, Zhu stunned then number 15 seeded Ekaterina Alexandrova in the second round and reached the round of 16, offering a glimpse of a possible resurgence. That promise remained unfulfilled until now. And after back-to-back wins over Emma Raducanu and Mira Andreeva on home soil, Zhu has finally backed up that breakthrough. For the second straight day, she rallied from a set down to defeat a top 30 opponent, ousting the top seed Andreeva 4-6, 6-3, 6-2 in 2 hours and 17 minutes to close out a long Wednesday in Ningbo with midnight fast approaching. Now to basketball, when the NBA Sacramento Kings forward Keegan Murray has agreed to a 5-year, $140 million rookie contract extension with the franchise. Murray, the number 4 pick in the 2022 NBA draft, secured a long-term extension to remain a key two-way wing in Sacramento through 2030-2031 season. Murray hit the ground running with the Kings in his first season, making the all-rookie team in helping Sacramento end its playoff drought as a full-time starter. His offensive numbers have plateaued some since last season, but he has developed as a strong defender, a big need for an offensively slanted Kings team. Murray averaged 12.4 points, 6.7 rebounds, 1.4 assists in 34.3 minutes in 76 games last season. The 25-year-old had been remarkably healthy through the first 3 years of his career, having played 233 out of 246 total games, starting all but 2 of them. However, He will miss at least the first 10 games this season after suffering a torn ulnar collateral ligament in his left thumb during a preseason game and undergoing surgery. Now back home here in Nigeria, where Nigeria's dream of hosting the 2030 Commonwealth Games has once again been dashed, as Abuja lost the bid to Ahmedabad in India. The Evaluation Commission of Commonwealth Sports selected Ahmedabad, located in western India, as the preferred host city ahead of Nigeria's capital. The decision is expected to be ratified during the organization's General Assembly in Glasgow on November 26th. Ahmedabad boasts the world's largest stadium, the Narendra Modi Stadium, with a capacity of 132,000, which hosted the 2023 Cricket World Cup final. The city, home to over 5 million residents, has also been tipped as a potential contender for a future Olympic Games. In a statement, Commonwealth Sports explained that candidate cities were assessed against a wide range of criteria and added that they have agreed to develop a strategy for supporting Nigeria's hosting ambitions for future games, including consideration for 2034. India previously hosted the Commonwealth Games in 2010 in New Delhi. This marks the second time Abuja has been overlooked, having also lost its bid for the 2014 edition to Glasgow. Now to football, where Chelsea head coach Enzo Maresca has been given a one-match touchline ban after being sent off in the last gasp winner against Liverpool in the Premier League. The Italian was shown a second yellow card of the game by referee Anthony Taylor for leaving the technical area to celebrate with his players following a Stavio Williams 95th minute winner against the reigning champions this month. The FA said Maresca admitted the charge and accepted the standard penalty. Maresca was shown a yellow card for dissent earlier in the game at Stamford Bridge. He has also been fined £8,000. It means he will not be in the Chelsea dugout when the Blues travel to the City Ground to face Ange Postecoglou's Nottingham Forest on Saturday, with assistant coach Willy Caballero expected to debutise for the former Leicester City boss. This will be Maresca's second touchline ban since becoming a Premier League manager in June 2024. The 45-year-old served his first suspension in April 2025 after picking up a third yellow card of the season while celebrating Pedro Neto's 93rd minute winner at Fulham. On that note, we put a halt on Sport Wrap-Up this particular morning, but not to worry. Sports Central continues just after the short break as the guys join a very exciting conversation. I promise you, make sure you stick around.
Live coverage of the glamour tie of match week 2 in the UEFA Champions League as the excitement builds for the meeting of Barcelona and the holders Paris Saint-Germain. Also aiming to make it 2 wins from 2. A charge of his second showpiece game in the Champions League this season, and that still is a formidable team, Maka. Yeah, on the wing there, the likes of Dembele. So off we go then, Paris Saint-Germain in right away. And he finds Ferran Torres, who's...
I think we're thrilled that he's playing. Poor ball by Petri.
Yeah, in the Champions League this season, scored 5 goals.
He is pragmatic at times, even though they do like to go forward.
Chance to attack here for PSG. The teasing ball by Portuguese left back. At the other end of the pitch, who's in his first year at PSG. And there's backing off initially. And Yamal trying to go past him. But there's been a late change to the Paris Saint-Germain. Now Olmo, Koundé made
unceremoniously told that he's not need.
It's a dangerous corner, and Savani attacked it very well. Mayulu.
Nuno Mendes. Hakimi up against Gerard Martin.
Opportunity in the absence of Marquinhos.
Pass there by Yamal for Ferran Torres, beyond the goalkeeper, and the block was by Zabani.
You know, how many times have we seen that?
The pass in behind again, this time for Dani Olmo. To Zambai with that turn of Petri. Rashford, it's Ferran Torres! It's a beautifully worked goal for Barcelona! Well, Vitinha gave the ball away, and he was made to pay. Barca's passing there was exquisite. And Ferran Torres with that finishing touch.
Yeah, it was a brilliant goal. Vitinha picking the wrong option. But from then on, it was all class.
Not again with that trademark ball. Here goes Barca with the pace in behind for PSG. But Petri couldn't quite. 4 years ago now. Mainly used off the bench last season. To Barca. Barca's ball in. Galloping from right back. Attract. Now it's Olmo, and he kept it low, and it deflected away and behind.
A lot of these players wouldn't be playing.
And by Lamine Yamal, only for the ball. Lamine Yamal with the corner. Continues. Yamal with the ball into a great area. It's Hakimi, and it's Chesney who has to palm it behind for a corner.
Yeah, sensible from the goalkeeper, just helping it on its way. We've seen Ansu Fati in the past get injured, you know, so...
It is Mayulu, that's deflected, and the game. Here's the resulting corner, in toward... Tormenting Zabani, getting past him too, but... Up against Zabani. Now by Rashford challenge, that's a foul by Rashford. Long time this season.
Yeah, he's out for another long time, isn't he? Yeah.
Look at him skip away, and that turn of pace too by Nuno Mendes. Wonderful play by him. So Zaire Emery. Koundé. Oh, he can't link up though with Zaire Emery.
Knows the full story.
The home of their reserve team. Chance to level the game here, and the chance taken. PSG level through Seni Mayulu. Well, he's just 19 years of age. He came off the bench and scored in the final last season, and he's levelled this game tonight. It's one apiece.
Yeah, and to a certain extent you could see it coming, couldn't you? I know Barcelona have been on top, but I still feel that they're very open to runners. And this is all about Nuno Mendes. Got a kick on his Achilles before, but he's recovered incredibly quickly. Look at him here, he's off. Koundé
towards Vitinha again. Collision there off the ball. It's beyond Ruiz. This is Barcola. It's done well. Bradley Barcola! Olmo. Now Ferran Torres with the back heel to Barcola. And now Hakimi over that. Here's Yamal. Brushed off it, and a foul's been committed there by Rashford dancing away on the cutback. Just a bit too close, there's PSG defense pass. Petri on the move.
Blistering football display.
some of those players are better rested as well.
Crosses by Fabian Ruiz, the head. Opened it. Jamal. This is a wonderful run by and it's still going. And just an outstretched poke of his face. Barkla will go it alone and sting the fingertips of Szczesny. Mayulu. This is Rashford. He's found some space here, Ashraf Hakimi. But missed the saddle, his fitness regime commit. Pedri. Nuno Mendes with the corner. Nuno Mendes now back onto his right foot. Again, happy to toss it forward to him by. Wise for Luis Enrique to concede. It's a little isolated. Fed by Zaire. Torres once more. Rashford waits, away by Zabani. Olmo, fantastic stop. Lamine Yamal. Rashford with the free kick. One-on-one with Nuno Mendes for a change. Lamine Yamal goes down, free kick. Nuno Mendes has been shown a yellow card. One from goal scorer to goal preventer. And Lamine Yamal, yes, that is. Quite sure him. Zaire Emery trying to thread it through, but in a sec, is he back from Mayulu? Barkla just excellent goal scoring records. He's dug it back for Fabian Ruiz, didn't really get help. For Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Barsi, not sure. Olmo. That's from Rashford in towards Lamine Yamal. Or Paris Saint-Germain, who's certainly got an eye for goal. Traditionally, the midfield pivots that have made it. Barkla. That was a left-footed Busquets. Carrying a dressing room with him. Here's Lee Kang in. Oh, struck a post. Somehow created some space. Mendes with the corner. Nuno Mendes now back onto his right foot. Again, happy to toss it forward to him by. Wise for Luis Enrique to concede. It's a little isolated. Fed by Zaire. Torres once more. Rashford waits, away by Zabani. Olmo, fantastic stop. Lamine Yamal. Rashford with the free kick. One-on-one with Nuno Mendes for a change. Lamine Yamal goes down, free kick. Nuno Mendes has been shown a yellow card. One from goal scorer to goal preventer. And Lamine Yamal, yes, that is. Quite sure him. Zaire Emery trying to thread it through, but in a sec, is he back from Mayulu? Barkla just excellent goal scoring records. He's dug it back for Fabian Ruiz, didn't really get help. For Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Barsi, not sure. Olmo. That's from Rashford in towards Lamine Yamal. Or Paris Saint-Germain, who's certainly got an eye for goal. Traditionally,
Hello, good morning. Welcome to another exciting time. We talk about the best of stories in the world of sports. It is Sports Central, and my name is Blyden Lukem. Exciting times ahead. Where the guys are seated at the table of greatness, all looking up to interesting times. They'll be giving us all the perspective in today's conversation. Part of a conversation was centered around the BNB Paribas Open, as the likes of Shapovalov downed a bog to reach the quarterfinals of it. Well, our multi-open in the world of tennis also taking center stage. The Japan Open with the likes of Naomi Osaka are really shining in that direction. Formula One conversation would be also part of it, but on the other hand, a key part of today's conversation on world sports would be about the fact that Nigeria have failed and missed out in Commonwealth Games 2030 hosting. Well, the ride has gone to India. It would be part of the conversation today. And definitely football stories around the world always going to be so important. Well, let me start by the pleasantries. So, David, good morning. So good to see you.
Delighted to return. Looks like I'm vindicated because when the conversation about the Commonwealth Games came up, I emphatically stated on this show that Nigeria are not ready. And it's just glaring that we're not ready. It's not just basically about, submitting hosting rights for competition. What are the modalities in place to host a big competition like the Commonwealth? So I think at the moment, a clarion call that we have to do more.
So you are vindicated by
Absolutely.
the right? And you're nodding towards it. You're vindicated.
Yeah, my words were right.
Well, unfortunately, we'll get to talk about our vindication later. Good morning.
Good morning. Excited to be here. Like the Commonwealth Games, I think the committee has said that Nigeria could be ready by 2034. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we're not in the right place. It's just that India, Ahmedabad especially, the city of Ahmedabad is at this point maybe a more favorable destination for the Commonwealth Games instead of Nigeria. But 2034 is still an option.
Well, a big option to talk about a Commonwealth game moving forward. But before we get to the Commonwealth Games conversation, let's start with the world of tennis. Exciting talking point of the world of tennis. We begin with the Paribas Open as Casper Ruud serving overshadows Warren Stat in Stockholm. And similar in the Paribas Open, we're talking about the Shapovalov getting a better box to reach the quarterfinals. Well, David, pick the Paribas Open because Fontaine, I got to talk about the Multi Open. What's really happening there?
Well, I think for me, Denis Shapovalov, quite a name that has actually been in top-level competition for some time, but basically you would also hear these names maybe once or twice in a while, winning games at top-level competition.
Yeah, previously last 2 years,
yeah.
I think it was one of the top names.
Absolutely.
In the top 10 thereabouts, so but it's really dropping form.
Thereafter, nowhere to be found, not even in 500 top-level events. I do not know what exactly, of course, was wrong with him, particularly. But I think it's quite good, to see him return back to, a top-level competition and also trying to, stake a name or make a claim for himself. But I think players who've actually stayed for 2-3, full years in the ATP and even the WTA category should be able to, of course, gather up some level of consistency on tour level. But it was quite a different case for Shapovalov. I just wish he gets to the semi-finals. Never know. Maybe getting to the finals could also be a start of many good things to come for him. But I think good win for him in this particular one.
A good win for him in this particular one. Shapovalov, well, I wanted to say showing class and dominance. A still a build up for him to really see if he gets to be part of the mainstream tennis competition after in recent times not being at a heightened level. And while we move to Amalfi, the Open that's taking place at Amalfi has to be Flavio Cobolli bouncing back in Amalfi to get a victory. And similarly, Fabian Morozan had to sink a feed-seated player, Brandon Nakashima. Well, let's start with Brandon Nakashima. Since being the next-gen ATP superstar at the time, then growing there, he's not really hit the ground running. And similar in this competition, was beaten by Fabian Morozan in this direction.
Well, I think not everyone is going to become a top-level superstar when it comes to tennis because there are always going to be people who are better than you, and there's always going to be maybe a few years where you get to reach the height of it, hit the ceiling, and then you're back to being average. And I think that for Brandon Nakashima at this point, he's not really impressed ever since his breakthrough season. But now, I would say he's found his level. Maybe ATP 250, then win a few of them. Maybe ATP 500 as well. But now, for Fabian Morozan, he became the first Hungarian to reach the quarterfinals of this particular competition. It shows you he's been able to do something unprecedented, set a record for his country as well as himself. So now looking forward to the next stage of the competition. I think they're in the quarterfinals now. So now looking forward to the tail end of it where it gets even more heated. He has no top names. The top names currently are A lot of people have called them out. I think the top 6 currently. Yannick Sinner, we've got Novak Djokovic, we've got Carlos Alcaraz currently playing an exhibition match. They call it the Six Kings.
In Saudi Arabia.
So they are not part of any of this competition, just leaving it for them.
And just featuring in that competition in
Exactly.
about 1 point something million.
Exactly.
$1 point something million. So big.
So just leaving this one
games here.
for the lower feeders. It's just like a food chain now. The top of the food chain are somewhere just enjoying themselves while they leave the rest to
making lots of money from exhibition.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll move ahead and talk about the games. I'm talking about the games that are taking place at the Almaty Open. Part of a conversation, a game going on now. Second seeded player in this competition, Danny Medvedev, is playing against Walton, the Australian international. 7-5 and 5-6 is the scores at the moment. Well, other games have taken place, were completed. The likes of Struff getting the better, or rather not. The next game we're looking at centre court will be Kachanov against Struff, the German international. Well, quickly, other games also in the world of tennis have taken place. Belinda Bencic getting better of a started up server to reach a quarterfinals. So we're talking about Naomi Osaka at the Japan Open, defeating defending champion, and Lamin also, despite injuries, scare in that direction. 18-year-old Valentova upsets Merton in Osaka for the first top 30 win for her. Well, we're going to have a next conversation quickly. My guest gets to join the conversation as fast as possible. What we're talking about, the fact that Nigeria had to miss out on the Commonwealth Games, is Tuba David wanted to be vindicated. And while we're prepping for the guests to join the show, let's begin a conversation, guys. Tuba David, I'll start with you now. You said you were vindicated.
Yeah.
Well, when it has to do with Commonwealth Games, it's 2030 Commonwealth. Nigeria came out swinging under this administration of President Bola Tinubu. They're hosting lots of tournaments. They want to host lots of tournaments. Formula One being part of it now. But the first draw was a Commonwealth game 2030, and it didn't work out, being given to India now.
Yeah, first of all, where they actually made mention of Nigeria's readiness, maybe it sounded like I'm not patriotic enough, because I was also looking at other factors. First of all, we're talking about yes, the fact that modalities are not in place. I think one of the easiest tournaments to even host is the Commonwealth Games. You can actually have it in 2 seaters. Basically, it has to do with basic, sports, infrastructures in those cities. It is not like the AFCON where you need several stadiums to host it across the country.
Yeah.
So I think if Nigeria can't actually put those modalities in place in 2 or 3 cities to host the Commonwealth Games, which other competition will be hosting? So I think we're still a long way off. We have to, of course, ensure that all of these things are put in check before even going out to, submit bids for, tournaments as big as this. So I think Nigeria is not still ready, just like I said earlier on. And there is still room for improvements, basically. We're talking about 2034, right? So maybe by then, we can actually have that readiness, and Nigeria going all in to host a major competition.
All right, Nigeria going all out to host a major competition. Well, we'll have a guest. I'll tell us if we're ready or not. Mr. Ntensa Williams, he's been a rugby player for Nigeria, being part of the administration of rugby, the FA of rugby in Nigeria at some point. And when you talk about one of the legends for Nigeria in terms of rugby, some time ago we hosted him on Spectrum TV. He gave us a history how he went to Zimbabwe and became a rugby player and all of that. Well, Ntensa Williams joins the conversation. What we're looking at the state of Nigeria, the very fact that Nigeria could not be allowed to host the 2030 World Cup. Good morning, Ntensa Williams. So good to have you.
Good morning. How are you today?
Well, fantastic. So good to have you. It's been a long while since, which year was that? Almost 2 years since we last had you on the show. Ntensa.
Oh, okay. I see you have abandoned me. You have abandoned me.
Well, you had to. You had
to help talk sports and rugby.
All right. Well, you had to join the show at a time like this when Nigeria could not be given the hosting right for the Commonwealth Games. Let's start talking about the Commonwealth Game, because I saw your right up this morning where you look at certain indices that plays out in becoming a host of major games like the Commonwealth, because it's not just about football, all other sports. What's your take with the fact that Nigeria could not get the hosting right for the 2030 Commonwealth Game, despite the fact that there are speculation of 2034?
Well, thanks very much. I would have actually preferred that we were to talk about it I would have preferred that we were talking about it if we actually won the bid. But be that as it may, unfortunately, Nigeria lost out on the bid to India. India is hosting, or will be hosting for the second time. And I would have really loved for Nigeria to host it, Abuja in particular, because rugby is one of the cardinal sports of the Commonwealth nations. And Nigeria had qualified for the Commonwealth Games in 2007, of which unfortunately we could not attend. Now that would have been the highest point of our rugby career in Nigeria. Now, unfortunately, we lost out on the bidding process, and you see, this not just based on facilities on the ground. Indices that you need to tick, the boxes which you need to tick for you to be able to win the hosting. And paramount on these boxes would be things like the facilities and most especially security. Now, unfortunately, Nigeria did not actually have a good rating when it comes to security, and it actually has a very low cost of living, which makes it more affordable for athletes and officials to visit, make something, get something from the allowances which they get in the Commonwealth Games from their countries. So by and large, unfortunately, we've lost out on it. We need to prepare ourselves properly, and the nation has to be in good state for us to be able to win bids like that. And you see, Abuja is a beautiful city which would have hosted this event very well. We hosted the All Africa Games there, and we hosted it very well. But then and now, there's been lots of security issues which we need to really tackle for Nigeria to be able to host, events very well. Be that as it may, it's not an all negative, because we can bid for the next edition.
All right, and we can bid for the next edition. Well, Mr. Rugby, as you're fondly called, let's go to the world of rugby a bit, still looking at the Commonwealth Games. I know you tipped it a bit. At some point, having a discussion, which you mentioned, how the Commonwealth officials also came to look at the state of rugby in Nigeria in terms of facilities and how that can work out. Do you think Nigeria has quality facilities to perform, especially in the world of rugby, and also put us through how rugby has been performing all this while in Nigeria? Because in recent times, we've not really mentioned about rugby. Since the last time I heard you talked about it, when they were having that elections and those squabbles with the FA, and since then it seems everything has stabilized now. We're looking forward to really seeing what the cricket community are doing. What's really happening in the world of rugby?
Well, Nigeria has the necessary facilities to host any international rugby event. As you would know, we use the same pitch as soccer, and we have more than enough grass pitch. We'd like to use the grass, not synthetic. Now in Abuja, when Commonwealth team came, they saw the pitch that we're going to use. It's next to the cricket pitch. And cricket and rugby are sisters. So there wouldn't have been any problem in terms of facilities. We also have, like in Edo State, we have the best dedicated rugby pitch, in Edo State right now. And just recently, we had the rugby league having their international friendly, for preparing them to go to the World Rugby Series in Canada. And they played at the Alaro Stadium. At the Alaro Stadium is actually a rugby dedicated pitch, even though it's an artificial turf. But it's good enough for us in terms of rugby. And if we were to host, especially in Abuja, we wouldn't have problems, with the venue to host.
Well, Mr. Nchen said this is Fonobong Tina here. I'm just going to send a very short question across. We're talking about the Nigerian, Olympic Committee. They sent a bid for the Commonwealth Games in 2014, and they were not successful. And after that, they just let it slide for. This is 2025. That's 11 years after. Some would say probably if they kept going back and maybe increasing the development, in Nigeria as a, readiness for the Commonwealth Games, would have probably gotten the bid by now. What is the, the situation at hand not to repeat that same mistake? This is 2025. Would we have to wait for another 11 years before we see Nigeria putting in another bid across to the Commonwealth Committee?
Well, I would actually advise that we need to, first of all, put our house in order and put in bids way in advance. When Australia pulled out, if we had had a bid in place and we had facilities and everything, checked, when Australia pulled out, we could have actually been the next, but Canada took it. And for me, you need to plan ahead of time, and you need to have these things. We only just heard about the bid, in the last, in this year, things like that. We need to pull it at least 2-3 years, mobilizing people to talk about it. And, the government is directly involved. I'm very, glad that the president was actually behind that bid. Unfortunately, it was a bit sudden, and we lost it. But we need to now prepare ourselves towards the next opportunity that we'll be having. We need to start hosting events, international events in Nigeria once again. When we were hosting the Nations Cup, the Under-17 World Cup and all, Nigeria was on the international system. To
Sir Williams, good perspective there. Well, connection issues being that difficulty for us, for you to wrap your thought. But thank you very much for being a part of the conversation. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, guys, we've heard Mr. Intense Williams. He's given perspective towards all of this that took place. Nigeria losing the Commonwealth, chance to host the Commonwealth in 2030 to India. But as you have a chance, creating awareness early is one of the things he's talked about, and we'll be looking forward to what happens even further, not just in the Commonwealth, but other sports in that direction. I think the other aspect of it that he didn't really talk about for us would have been giving insights more in the world of rugby and what's really happening in the world of rugby. Because in recent times, but we'll get to host him again and really talk about all of that. And quickly before we go on a quick break, we hear that the rumors that took place regarding Mercedes has ended. Mercedes and Max Verstappen rumor has ended, and what we're hearing is that that's a new announcement for new deals for Mercedes drivers. Is that conversation? But now we'll go on a quick break, and when we're back, it will be football stories all around the world and the direction that comes with it. Looking at the CAF Champions League regarding Nigerian teams, Remo Stars being part of that mix and Rivers United being part of that mix. Don't go away. When we're back, the conversation continues in the world of football. Welcome back here to Sports Central. My name is Vlad Rukamutu Funitina, still with me for company, going nowhere. And now we talk about football stories around the world, the excitement that comes with football. Football comes with a different kind of flavor. Well, let's start a conversation from the Under-20 World Cup. Morocco has been the shining light for Africa, and they continued around, and now moving even further into the conversation now. Morocco beating France on penalties to reach the World Cup finals. Well, for the Tina, you've seen the strides of Morocco. When it started, we thought, oh, anyway, maybe they'll just have a journey just like other teams. At some point, Nigeria, Egypt, which are the team that South Africa fought at the alliance, and Morocco went ahead, scored France first. France had to equalize late in the game, went to penalty, and Morocco having that victory. And now they're moving to the final. What performance we've had from Morocco?
I think Morocco gradually becoming the blueprint for football in Africa as a whole. Now, you know, other countries would have to maybe pay for master classes because they look at, I think Morocco has been very, very, formidable in recent times. Talking about the Under-17 World Cup, they've been there. Under-20 age grade system, they've been there. They just concluded World Cup in 2022. They were the African team with the highest finish ever in history. So when you look at it, I think they've done remarkably well. And now it's showing for the Under-20 boys as well. The side have been very, very solid. You know, the group stage, they finished on top of them. They don't qualify as best losers. They finished on top to show you how good they were. They've gone all the way. Now they're in the final. I've said deserved for them. Because when you look at what they've been able to do, I think it speaks volume. And that's why in 5 years to come, we might still have Morocco on top of African football. Because this Under-20 side now are definitely going to get slow integration into the national team, and we'll also have an opportunity to go to better clubs in Europe. That was what always happened for Nigeria, the likes of what's his name now, Victor Osimhen. After that under-17 African, with the under-17 World Cup, he went to Wolfsburg. Talking about the likes of Kelechi Iheanacho, on the 17 World Cup, he went to Manchester City. Kelechi Nwakali went to Arsenal. All of this would play a huge role, but now we see Nigerians going to Norway. We see Nigerians going to a club size we don't even know about in Russia and all of those countries. The development is going to be more difficult for our youngsters because now they're not going to good environments where they get to learn. So that's just the difference. Morocco in 5 years' time will probably be still ahead of Nigeria, and it's just sad at this point.
Well, Mr. David Fonitin has spoken about Morocco being the top of the game, a model for African football development. But let's talk about another country. In recent times, they're also the shining light from South America. We're talking about Argentina beating Colombia. Two South American countries. Colombia had a red card in this one, a 1-0 victory for Argentina. The current world champions, under-17, and they're doing it also. Last year, a little here, a little there, at the under-17 level, I think they got to the final of the under-17, but at the under-20 the last time, they didn't do well. But we've seen recent improvement from Argentina, which brings a conversation. I know you have time to talk about it on Monday, but Morocco, Argentina up next at the final.
Well, a very difficult battle to look forward to, and I must also say, this actually shows countries, have good intentions, maybe intentional about football as well, because one would also mention South American, nations, and maybe put Brazil in that mix. Recently, we've also received Brazil struggle, not just from the age grade system, even from the senior national team. So it gets to affect all levels of, your national team.
I just interrupted a bit because the thought came to my mind when you were saying it. We've seen each time it seems like the national team is doing well.
Yeah.
You see the age grade teams also get to do well.
Yeah.
Senegal at the time they were champions of Africa. Yeah. The under-20, under-17 were dominant.
Yeah.
So sometimes I was looking at a development that's coming from age grade to the senior level. We also have that ripple effect from the senior level affecting how you perform at the age grade level.
Absolutely. I think it's about, of course, how their respective bodies also, tend to, take all of these decisions quite easy. I mean, for Nigeria, we've actually seen, how do I put it? We've actually seen late calls, particularly for our national teams. It happened at the under-17. Manu Gaba appointed a few weeks before the start of a major tournament for the under-17. Where did they go? How far did they fare? So I think all of this is down to the very fact that you have to set your priorities right. And I think that's what Morocco are doing at the moment. It's not just about, harnessing this young talent, hosting major competition, exposing these players to, of course, good infrastructure. And I think that's where they are at the moment for Argentina, the same case for them. So I think all of these examples are quite quality enough for other teams, especially African teams, to follow. Nigeria in particular, we must do more.
Well, Nigeria has to do more. The FA has to do more. Everyone has to do more. Is that conversation? I see within the context of Nigeria, CAF Champions League will be taking center stage, and part of the conversation will be Nigerian teams likely to participate in this one. Some of the games taking place tomorrow and over the weekend in the CAF Champions League. But we hear Rivers United have arrived Mozambique for a Black Bulls show them. And similarly, Sundowns are facing fatigue. They say a travel nightmare ahead of Remo clash. Well, Foritina, it seems like a good team from a Nigerian perspective, but I still got time to rest anywhere and play these games taking place over the weekend.
Well, definitely. I think for Mamelodi Sundowns, they're always going to be one of the best teams in Africa, no matter what fatigue or whatever. You look at the Remo Stars, you put it side by side with Mamelodi Sundowns. I think the Sundowns side would always talk whatever Remo Stars have been able to achieve for themselves. So I don't think there's any case of not being favourite here. Mamelodi Sundowns are clearly the favourite in this game. Remo Stars have to be at the very top of their game to even try to get a victory in this particular
when
game.
you have 8 players, of course, from your club side playing at the national team, you know what to expect. So that's the same case for Sundowns at the moment.
Well, that's the case for Sundowns at the moment. Well, let's move to Europe then and talk about exciting one, European competition, the World Cup qualifiers. We hear that Gennaro Gattuso says he will flee Italy if World Cup bid fails again. Well, I don't know what attraction have not really followed him Italy now in recent times, but what attraction is it to David for them now where they are in the qualifiers?
They're actually in Group I in the qualifier series, 3 points behind group toppers, that's the Norway national team. I think he's actually had a very good start to life as Italian coach. The last 4 matches, he's won all of them. So despite being 3 points behind, they've also still got more qualifier matches to play as regards Africa, who have actually wrapped us at the moment. So I think for Gennaro Gattuso, the man is also growing confidence. That's why he's even saying that, because it looks seemingly impossible to start having, the Italian national team losing games and maybe miss out of the World Cup, a qualification spot. I feel they will actually qualify from the trajectory of Gennaro Gattuso, winning games left, right, center. They're actually, of course, in that position to qualify for the World Cup.
Well, I think they also benefit from the fact that Europe will have more. I think they have the most teams at the World Cup comparatively. So if you look at Africa extended, then you can imagine what's happened. The groups in Europe, they span to Group L, so you can picture what gets to happen. So, well, let's see what's happening, because which group is Italy now? Italy.
Group I should be Group I.
Group I.
We know we're top.
So that Norway 18 points, Italy 15 points.
Absolutely.
Israel 9 points. So how many games have played? 6 games played. How many teams now? So it's almost done.
This is, I think, about 2 matches.
Yeah, 2 matches left. So it's almost done. 2 matches or 1 match left.
Should be 1 or 2, I've forgotten.
Okay.
There it's going to be 2.
5 years, so 2 matches left. 5 in a group, 2 matches left. Well, let's see what pans out for him and the Italian national team. It's quite sad. Italy has also struggled in recent times.
They haven't been able
for
to
the World Cup. It's always been that conversation. Well, before we get to bounce, it would be that Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca has been handed 1 game ban for a Liverpool red card. It seems like Chelsea are getting all this ban and money every time now, because they have to pay fines. The last time I paid about $25,000. Now I hear about $8,000 thereabout for them. But it's that conversation. But let's talk about one talking point before we close with David. It would be that Frankie de Jong remains opposed to Barca Villarreal in Miami. We've talked about it, but it seemed like the La Liga body are interested in it, and lots of people, before it was UEFA being against it, and they had to take it to court, and somehow the game's going to take place. Barca Villarreal in Miami. Big superstars are going outside La Liga to play these games, and put that side by side with the fact that Frankie de Jong has renewed his contract with Barca. I think it will span till 2029 thereabout for him. A good player. When Hansi Flick came up, it seemed like he was going to be on the bench. After Casado got injured, stepped up, really did the magic, and over time become a key player for them again.
Well, I think it's quite good. Well, I do not know how to, of course, put all of this, but I think several players and club sides will actually oppose that move of playing La Liga outside the shores of Spain. But I think we'll also look at the financial capacity of Barca in recent times. They've actually been struggling to balance their books, signing players, not really being able to register them. So I think these few games that will be played outside the shores of Spain will also help them generate funds. I mean, there was a time where we actually had players' salaries being also, divided into 2 just to be able to balance the books. So it shows you how bad it was for Barca. So if they can actually have this being approved by UEFA, that they play at least 2 La Liga games outside the shores of a country, I do not feel it's entirely bad for me. I think where the questions would have actually come would be, let's say, 10 matches outside Spain. Men will actually ask questions. But if it's 1 or 2, I think it's okay for me.
You want to buy into the same sentiment?
Well, I don't know what Frankie de Jong is doing. He should go play in Miami.
All right. Well, the guys are saying, go play football in Miami. That's it now. I make money for the club, so I stop talking. Well, lots of travel stress could be another factor anyway at the end of it. But La Liga is that story. Well, awards, it would be that Ayemang is joining Premier League stars on Golden List. Unfortunately, now what's happening on the list?
Well, I think that's for Michelle Ayemang.
Yeah.
The female, star who's doing quite well. She went to the Euros recently with the English national team.
Yeah,
did quite well.
they scored lots of goals from the bench.
Yeah, so she's doing quite well. But unfortunately, she's still stuck on loan now at Brighton and Hove Albion with the likes of Chiamaka and Nados here. But I think she's originally a Chelsea or Manchester Chelsea player, so on loan at Brighton and Hove Albion. So it's just about time before she's been transitioned from being that loan player to being a full player for Chelsea. Let's see how that takes to pan out for the lady.
Well, a wonderful performance for the young star, and many Ghanaians are saying she could have played for Ghana instead of playing for England, but it's basically what it is. Well, top European clubs are discussing using a substitution. It will be a conversation for tomorrow. We're also hearing sudden changes in the world of football. We'll talk about all the changes tomorrow. The likes of Graham Porter open to Sweden a job. How bad Graham Porter can be and possibly going to Sweden.
He's now saying he loves Sweden.
Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he love Sweden?
Looking for a job.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, it's basically what it is. When you're doing badly at what you're doing, Graham Porter has a story in the English Premier League, and now he's not comfortable being in the top 5 league in Europe. He loves Sweden. Which we David. Well, we don't love Sweden. We love Nigeria.
We love Spectrum TV.
We love Nigeria, Spectrum TV. We have to balance. Thank you guys for being a part of it. Tomorrow is another day. There are some key talking points we can talk about tomorrow, about some changes that are taking place in world football.
Okay.
We'll show you. We're going to talk about it, talk about them tomorrow. But we bounce. Thank you for being a part of it. Tomorrow is another day.